I'd like to tell you a few things about our guest of honor who is presenting this program, but I have to warn you first. He has 10 years experience in stand-up comedy. So his sense of humor is just a little bit tilted. Please bear with us. And just to let you know,
I am I, the great and powerful. Who are you?
this is just a sample of the journey you're going to take tonight with Robert Welch. Robert Welch is the co-editor of The Wizard of MGM, the book in the back of the room, the memoir of his grandfather, Arnold Buddy Gillespie. He was the head of special effects at MGM in its heyday. The book was a labor of love for over 3 years, with introductions by Katharine Hepburn and Spencer Tracy, who were dear friends of his family. As a third-generation contributor to media and entertainment, he has produced and directed films. He's designed special effects. He's appeared on Turner Classic Movies as a consultant and enjoys designing live theater sets, inventing new computer technologies, and applying his skills for such things as interactive Halloween haunts, like I do. On the technical side, Robert has developed streaming media technologies, video wall backdrops for real-time animation, known in the business as volumes, which is an all-encompassing environment. What else has he done?
All kinds of crap.
He's done all kinds of...
Stuff.
He is a member of the Society of
Motion Pictures, Television, and Engineers,
SMPTE, as well as the Video Service Forum and many other technically creative standard bodies. His grandfather taught him 3 rules in life that he happens to live by. Always appreciate everyone around you. Never miss a chance to meet someone else. You never know who they are or what you could learn from them, and impart knowledge or even make a long-term friend, as we will be by the end of the program tonight. There will be some new friends. Number 3, always be learning. You apply what you know. The things you don't know are opportunities to learn more. Never fear life or the obstacles in front of you. Truly live in every moment. And he has an interesting family tradition in terms of this. You can understand why his grandfather gave him this 4th rule of life, because Buddy used to take bets on climbing up the side of buildings up until his later years. Fearlessness is a gift and an attitude. His grandmother, on the other hand, was more practical. She said, never invest in gold and wipe your feet before entering the house. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Robert Welch.
Everybody in this room has contributed in one way or another, and I just want to thank you all, truly, from the bottom of my heart, and also from the Gillespie family and the Welch family for being here tonight. As you can tell, I get very emotional. I talk really fast, but let's begin. So we're gonna speed it up. We're gonna go to 12 on some of this. All right. So here we go. Now, what is a special effect? Well, you can see on the upper left that's from Forbidden Planet. That's one of the miniatures. We'll talk a little bit about that. Anybody know what the right-hand side is? Any guess? It's not her book. What is it? Wizard of something or other? I don't know what it is. Okay. On the bottom left, you have Ben Hur, yes, right? And on the bottom right, you have, now I'm heard or told that there's somebody that's attributed to George Pal here. Okay, right here. Okay, good. Welcome, sir. Welcome, sir. At the end, we're going to make a little fun of George Pal. I hope it's okay. We'll see how it ends up. He might end up beating me up because he's bigger than me. So, we're going to have a little fun talking about special effects here, too.
Now to present the awards for special effects, the beautiful Israeli actress, Miss Haya Harari, better known as Ben's Hur.
In this magic land of the magic lantern the world calls movies, only few things are impossible. And when the impossible is demanded, it is always the special effect men who bring it about. The magicians nominated for the wizardry of special effects this past year are A. Arnold Gillespie and Robert McDonald visual effects, Milo Lowry sound effects for Ben-Hur, and L.B. Abbott and James B. Gordon visual effects. Carl Faulkner sound effects for The Journey to the Center of the Earth. The winner is visual effects by A. Arnold Gillespie and Robert McDonald Ben-Hur, sound effects for Milo Lowry.
May I speak for the special effects men? It was a great honor to work on Ben-Hur, and this is the proudest moment of our lives. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is really a very thrilling experience, one which comes very seldom to most people. And I'm very grateful to all those that are responsible for this great honor. Thank you.
Everything has been said. I simply want to point out that that effects is never a one-man job, and there are many, many, too numerous to mention, whose names should be mentioned and who should receive the credit. My gratitude and my thanks to them and to you.
So that's him on the right-hand side. That's his office, you can see, for the Academy Awards. Now, on the left-hand side, there's a little bit of a story here. It was publicity day, and Buddy just came back from, they were tooting around in the car, just had a vacation, and they happened to take their two-seater car, and ran it off the road, down a hill, about 100 feet. Broken bones. Came back, and it's publicity day. Wah-ha! And they had Leo the Lions. Now, they had a zoo. If you didn't know, MGM had a zoo. They had giraffes, they had hippos, they had monkeys, of course, for Tarzan, and they had, of course, lions, a lot of Leo the Lions. Buddy used to hang out there and hang out with the lions a lot. Yes, a lot. And you can see where, now everybody was scared of Leo. Everybody's scared, because he's a lion. It's a big thing, right? Comes up, steps in. Of course, this is, him hobbling in, and this is what ended up happening, and this is how this photo happened, was because of the love. Now, it just happens to be that when Buddy started with MGM, he was also a sign painter of a couple other things, and he would hang out, and actually he would paint the MGM logo and coax the lions through, which you'll see some of that through here. So it's not just the affinity for the lions, but how he directed them and the love that he expressed back and forth. That's where these photos are. Now, another thing you'll notice is, even though the book is called, oh, here it is, just happen to have it in front of me, The Wizard of MGM. We retitled it for a newer audience because we said big ones out of little ones. I had an X rating. I'm not sure how that was on Amazon, so we changed it. Can we cut that? Can we cut that in post? Cut it? Okay, thanks. All right, thanks. So, but this is actually his writing. He did everything on this book. You can see the little thing that says write, and what the size was. He was meticulous about everything he did. I want this photo, this size. He had a reference of exactly what size photos we were going to have in the book. And he called it big ones out of little ones because big movies out of small effects. And you're going to see some examples of that in here. And I'm going to stop talking, I swear. Okay? But it was also 42 disaster years, referring to the movies, or disastrous years, referring to himself. He was not. He's kind of on the fence. But this is literally his book, his words, and the way he approached life. So let's talk about big ones out of little ones.
Bomb away.
understand what Matt feared. If ever there is another war, it won't be cities burning themselves one at a time, but the whole world on fire, eating itself to ashes.
Let's get out of here. I feel like we're over a dead world.
We know the beginning. Only you of tomorrow, if there is a tomorrow, can know the end.
Yeah, now let's talk about this. So 30 Seconds Over Tokyo was similar to this in a way that we took live action. He went to, basically went to the DOD, Department of Defense. He says, we're gonna make a movie about this. And he said, great. What do you wanna do? We're gonna take all the photos that you have, all the photos we have, great, of Tokyo Harbor. We're going to paint that, and we're going to experiment with different types of filaments, different explosions, different types of armament to see what we can do to make something that looked like the atom bomb. He went, and he was the only one in America that actually saw what the atom bomb looked like. Now, what he did was, now you put cream in coffee before, right? Yes. But how you would play around with Johnny Weissmuller and a crocodile. So a rubber crocodile, this is a grossine dye, which is basically ink. And so he was thinking as he was sitting at the commissary, putting cream in his coffee, and Johnny Weissmuller, that's it. So you take this, you paint it out, this is all glass, this is a 6 foot by 6 foot by 12-foot tank, that's it, filmed upside down. And different dyes will have different ways of affecting in the water. You film it upside down. Now, these are also called Form 48s. Every movie he worked on, even going back to C.B. DeMille, he wanted to write down exactly who it was. It's Max Fabian, as you can see down here, what the lens was, exactly what the day was. This is production number 1377, set number 77, all the dates, stage, all that material. They shot this upside down. Now, the new movie looked at this, figured out what to do, and they did the same way. It's all just a water tank.
Was that the water tank behind the scenic art?
Yes, it was. Yes. Yes. And miniatures, Tank Lot 3. Of course, they filmed it up high, but this is all miniatures. Because of the photos that they had, the reference photos, they knew exactly where to make the marks. Of course, you can't make miniature water, and you can't make miniature fire. So they shot this from about 50 feet up. Isn't that wild? I mean, think about this, is you have to make an atom bomb, you're trying all with all kinds of different explosions, and you can't come up with it until you put cream in coffee. I wouldn't have thought of that. That's just wild. Now, this is the beginning, not the end. This right here was printed just a few weeks after he passed away, okay? He was interviewed a month before he passed away. He was born in October 14th, 1899. Yep, yes. Sorry, exactly. And age of 78, he passed away. So about, every year, he was the same year as the year. I mean, same age as the year, right? But I want to just read this to you. Here's the question that the interviewer asked, okay? So the question is, if you take a look at the work that was done in the studios, MGM was so heavily dependent on effects in order to create a look that the studio identified with. It's not just the frosting on the cake. I would think there would be a question mark there, but I'm not the writer. The answer is, yeah, that's undoubtedly true. And imagine he's 78 years old. The guy, he's on fire all the time. He's always thinking. Yeah, the answer was, that's undoubtedly true. I think that's all we did. I think our service function was so that whatever the required and what was written by the writers, the 40 senior writers, a lot of writers, right? And 80 junior writers, that's a lot. I mean, imagine having that on your pay scale right here. So that's quite a lot. So, and they tried to do 52 features a year. Whew. I'll tell you where you learned that from in just a minute. Okay, 52 features and 40 shorts. That was in the heyday. And I came out in February 1923. So Buddy came out in February 1923, which was just before MGM was even born. Okay, it was just starting. So he was like number 7 there. We were over in Italy in Ben-Hur, number 1. Okay, remember the Francis one, the one way back in 1920s. Okay, number 1 when the merger took place. That's where I first met L.B. Mayer, another brilliant man. I said that, it wasn't said here. He didn't say that. And I've been with them ever since. This is the 54th year this month since I came onto the lot. Now, I love what the next question is. What was the first effects picture that you worked on here at the studio? Well, in February 1923, which was before MGM was even born, we were over in Italy and I'm just like, come on, guy, you just said it. You just answered it. Yeah, exactly. Sorry, some of this stuff just cracks me up, and I'm like, maybe I shouldn't read the rest of it, but there you go. Okay, so let's look at the life of Buddy Gillespie. He's always traveling. He was interviewed by Heasy Tate, which is a friend of his.
Hey, Robert, hold on a minute. Can you hear me okay?
Hey, buddy, how you doing?
Audio check. Check 1.
Hey, buddy.
Check 1.
All right, stage is yours.
Okay, wonderful. First, welcome, friends. Welcome, one and all. Let me tell you the story of my early years. It was Heasy that landed me the first job at Paramount Studios as a tea pusher. Actually, a draftsman. The time at the Art Students League provided a bit of confidence. I had never pushed a T prior, nor a P, a Q, an R, or an S. But what could go wrong? The job was supposed to be 2 weeks. 2 weeks turned into 8 months. 12-hour days, 7 days a week, building sets at night and drafting during the day. The movie, Manslaughter, an appropriate name for my first C.B. DeMille movie. At 22 years of age, Manslaughter it truly was. But boy, I sure did learn a lot from the master himself. Lessons learned that became the foundation for the rest of my career.
Quiet, quiet, quiet. We're trying to take a scene here. We've got 4,000 people on this set. Now keep quiet and attend to your business. What's that girl doing over there with a 1935 headdress? You know, this isn't a fantasy, this is history.
If he could find some little thing to pick on, some little something, and if there were enough guests around, he used to deliver a lecture. And some of DeMille's early lectures were really something.
We comb the museums of the world. We scour every library there is to get accurate and authentic detail. And they give me a girl that looks as though she'd just walked out of a beauty salon.
And you'll see some of these Academy Awards right there and some of the plaques. These are the plaques that he had. So 3 Academy Awards, 1 for technical. 300 titles. This man was busy. So let's take a look back at a life of creativity in film and how he affected all of our lives. Oh. This is an example of him. You could see him, you could clearly see him right here, posterior. Maserati was the filmmaker, but yes, you recognize him right away. And this happens to be the blow-dried Leo the Lion, because it was like this.
10 seconds to shoot.
You can't.
your back on Scaramouche, my lord. But surely you will not run away from Andre Moreau.
Like old times.
The laws of the state of New York now pronounce you husband and wife.
There she goes, folks. The luxury liner everybody dreams about.
Here she comes!
Right here.
I don't, Paul Scott, I don't.
You love me, Mary. You know you do.
And if I love the ground you walked on, there's nothing can come of it.
Well, I'm not going to say goodbye to you for 1,000 years. But if there were anything like goodbye, there'd be a kiss to say it.
Cables, newsreel ace, on the lookout for bombing shots. There's a pair of reckless sky devils.
You're sending me to my doom, eh?
I wish I was in Red Department. No, they better not.
CB himself, I think, was thoroughly and totally and completely detested by everyone who ever worked for him until they got to know him.
Well, this was a proud yet embarrassing moment. This Dr. Whatever his name was, stated that our Brontosaurus Rex would have been not only a hopeless cripple, but the laughingstock of all the other dinosaurs in the neighborhood, except, of course, the others depicted in all their bony splendor, standing there, rather dejected looking, on the shiny floor of the museum, which was shiny Paramount, stage 4. Now, after those rave reviews, Paul, the art director, and my boss, he was clearly fixated on CB's reaction. Was CB pondering whether the skeletal references of the giant plaster creations were gleaned from a children's book, or actual atomically correct reference material? Hey, Robert.
Would you mind taking it from here?
Sure, buddy, I got you. Okay, so these trees, he actually designed these trees. He was doing set design, and also doing architecture and also building sets. This was a 36-hour, 7-day-a-week type of job. Now, he had asked, basically CB asked Buddy to order 30 yards of grass, and he put an extra 0 there, and that was the first mistake, and the wrath of CB began. Yes, oops. Now, in CB's defense, he wanted to have these big trees. These trees were about 20 feet in diameter, or actually radius, if you will, not diameter, and they were quite large. You had big things, big trees, because they've been around for thousands of years. So they made it as accurate as they could. Now, what I'd like you to do is, and for those people who can read the little cues in the front, please read the cues. The reason I say this is because then you'll get a sense of how Buddy had to think as he was working with CB DeMille. Adam's Rib was the second movie that he worked on, okay? Manslaughter was the first, which was the hardest movie to make, but to break down Manslaughter would have just been a nightmare in itself. So let's break down Adam's Rib back in the 1920s, okay? Theodore was also an actor by day, but set design at night. Septic bones in the back, which they made plaster. I think that's so cute. But when you break down some of these angles, you'll see CB up there, you see how crisp he has those shadows. That's what I look at. When I'm doing set design, set deck, or something like that, you're looking at things like this, especially from lighting and all that, okay? And you have to make sure that everything's right. Now, if you really want to get really detailed in how CB thought, take a look at even the wood architecture. And I'm going to point this out. There's a dovetail right here, and one here, and then it comes down to another dovetail. He did not want to have it just boarded in and had to be structurally sound. Why? To hold all the people in the camera and up there. That was CB. Yeah. So imagine working with that every day, okay? At 22 years of age, you're going to learn a lot, and learn a lot fast, and exactly where to put the lighting, exactly where to stand, and stand back, and make it look exactly like he wanted to have it. So that's the level of detail you had to get into. That's what was in his head from the beginning. That's why these pictures were so good. Now, digging into this a little bit more, matte paintings. He had to think about matte paintings as well, and I'll give you an example of that. This was invented back in 1907. These were called glass mats, and as you can see, this is in-camera effect, right? So you put the matte painting in front of the camera, and then you have the play in the back. Now, a lot of new artists have started off this way, and we've seen this one here. She was in Russia. She started off as an artist, as a matte painter, and she was very, very good at it. Very good at that. Yes, wasn't that wild? So yes, even you could be a matte painter, yes, and have a career as such as this. Isn't that wild? Isn't that fun? Okay, so back to Adam's Rib. So matte paintings, bigatures, and original soundtrack. Well, okay, this may not be the original soundtrack, but it's as best as we could get because we had to hire somebody for some of the sounds. Okay, so pay attention. I'll show you where the mats are, but the sound, just give me a little latitude on it, all right? Yeah, the 6-year-old got paid really, really well, okay? Oh, yep.
All in good time, my little pretty. All in good time.
I know, Wizard of Oz. You all want to hear about Wizard of Oz. We're going to show a few things about Wizard of Oz. Is that okay? Yeah. All right. I was told not to, but I'm going to do it anyway. Rebels. Okay, so as you can see here, this is how they used to film, were like title cards, okay? And this was one of the original title cards, or was it? Anybody know what the original title scene was? That does not have me on Facebook. No? Oh, really? You want to know? Okay, all right, we're waiting. All right.
The person who might know would be the great and wonderful Wizard of Oz himself.
That's right, that's who we know. All right. So, what did that look like? Well, it looked like this. Yes, it was a ball. It was not a crystal ball. It was a ball full of white, kind of creamy stuff, and it was painted in the front. And then it was dropped on stage 14 from what we call now the Perms, right? They called them something a little bit different back in the day. But this is really just the way that they did it. And of course, it was going to be shown in reverse. Now, we've kind of seen this idea before, but this is how it was all started off. Okay, we'll clean that up afterwards. We'll fix that. Now, when we shot the scenes for, or not we, when the scenes were shot for this, we tried it with a tornado. We tried it with, some smoke. We tried it with throwing dust at things. We tried it in different ways of doing it. And Form 48 shows that all these different things were tried for different scenes to see how they would look. And also depending upon where it was. And the Form 48, which is 1060. If you guys didn't know, this was, filmed 1060 on MGM lot. So, The Wizard of Oz, it was shot, as you can see, and I'll just read it to you, on February 24th, taken from the house, traveling to the camera, correction in the direction of travel and smoke. Okay, well, that could be a big deal. Because if you're going to shoot this in reverse, you want to make sure the smoke is going the right direction. And the house falling away from the camera into kind of a white background. They didn't know what they were going to do. So this is how they were going to do it, and you'll see it in a couple of different ways. Now, this one I had to borrow. You'll never know where I got this from. You'll never figure it out, I'm sure. Never, right? So this was a couple of different sizes. It was 1/2 inch to the foot and 1/4 inch to the foot. They have different sizes. You'll see the one that is a 1/4 inch to the foot here in just a bit on one of these. But they had 3 different sizes of miniature houses. And so let's take a look at this. Now, I'm going to show you how big the hand was in this. This is the hand dropping the smaller of the 3 sizes. Okay? Isn't that wild? This is actual sound. Yeah, exactly. That's a long way down. Yeah, go ahead and hang over and just drop it.
I got it.
I warned you. Now, Brad Topinski and Mark Wanamaker, you remember this, Mark, right? He invited us over and says, hey, I think I got something that's really cool. We were in a hotel in Santa Monica, and there were all kinds of people dressed in all kinds of different things. Of course, there's shorts and little tutus and stuff. And Mark and I go there, and we're like, oh, it's the real thing. And we took a look at this. Remember this, Mark? And we were looking at every little thing, every little detail that was in here. And Mark looked in the window, and he saw this one thing called a plaque, an MGM plaque. That was an hour discussion right there. An hour discussion with Mark. Anybody? Anybody? Okay. So now you understand. But we also looked at the top. Remember this? As Gary and I looked at the top, and we said, yeah, this is the real thing, because who else would want to know how to fly this thing? There were 5 holes in the top, and there were 12 holes in the bottom. Now what you do is you take a wire going to the top so you can fly it, and then you take a dowel, and you take that wire, you rip it around, and you push the dowel up into the hole so you can fly it, and then you can move it around very easily. So I took it upon myself to verify that this was exactly it. This was indeed one of them. It wasn't used. It wasn't dropped. This is the last remaining one. So they took fishing line, basically, or wire, or piano wire, and they floated it. Now, for the bigatures that you had a couple of guys that would do fore and aft and also tilt. So all that plane movement would be kind of fixed, but you'd have to play around with this a bit. Now, what's interesting about Wings, which won the first Academy Award for special effects, Buddy had just left 5 years prior, the Lasky Paramount team, and he was not very happy. Yeah, so this stuck with his craw forever and more, that he was not there to win the first Academy Award for Wings. Now, in Wizard in itself, and I'm going to get up and talk just a bit, and hopefully can you guys hear me when I talk? You guys? Okay. What was the bottom of the witch's dais? Yes, who said that? Was this a raised floor, or was it on the stage floor? That kind of
pit?
Huh?
Is it a pit on a stage? In other words, you remove the stage
Yeah,
floor?
exactly. Did they paint this on the stage floor, or was it a raised floor where they had the whole set raised up?
Raised floor. Either way will work.
No, they did it on the stage floor. Exactly. And here, as you can see, elevation C, right there, smack dab on the floor. Yep. This is what they call a process screen and a process shot. Okay, and we'll get into what process screens and process shots are, but there's also a backing here. This is very important to know. The process shot was used for the miniatures and the flying monkeys. Okay, I'm not going to do sound. This is pretty sound okay. And also the backing was used just for Margaret Hamilton, who's a good friend of mine. I've got a story about that too, but we might do that afterwards. Okay, so in this, you'll have the backing, and you'll also have the process shot. Oh, and one other thing. Anybody build sets nowadays? Anybody? Still? No, set designers? Okay. Back in the day, we didn't use cardboard, we didn't use actually board or anything like that. We used muslin. Yeah. Why? Because you can bring it up and tear it down in no time at all. And it was just reams and reams of muslin. In fact, you can see as the Harry Carey stuff what happens in The Wizard of Oz and people are running into the wall, you'll see the wall just push right in. It's kind of fun. Oh, by the way, the original crystal ball was used in Fu Manchu, The Mask of Fu Manchu, just 1932, just months beforehand, because they're going to reuse the props, right? Starring Boris Karloff, as you probably already know. Sold for $110,000 back in May 15th of 2011. Profiles in History, yep, they do have it. And they didn't have, it was just a ball, that's it. It was just a crystal ball. It didn't have the monkeys on the side. I don't know in The Wizard of Oz what the association and the affinity with monkeys were. I don't know if that was a bad dream she had, but she had something about monkeys, I'm not sure. And munchkins and monkeys, I'm not sure, okay, now, Algene Harmitz is a good friend of mine. Anybody know who Algene Harmitz is? She wrote the Wizard of Oz book, the original one? Yes, indeed, amazing gal. So I met with her and we were talking about different things. We have her archives, by the way, but in the book, this is not covered, and I just want to read a little bit of this. We use a process projector, which I'll get into, and a little from off the side of the screen, the crystal ball was there. And you saw where the crystal ball is, right in the middle. And if you look down through this thing, and you saw these are various other things, he liked to use the word things. Okay, we projected just like we would in a process off a translucent screen. Oh, how big was that screen? The crystal ball was from the side with a mirror that's a 45-degree angle. So that's the picture hitting the mirror and then came up onto the translucent screen. Then there was this crystal ball that was a great big translucent ball that had a thing over the top, and it just bounced the lights. Well, wait a second. She asked, from the side because it was easier? You projected from the side because it was easier? No, for two reasons. Now, for you camera people, back in the day. Yeah, it was easier for two reasons. One, we avoided having the heavier projector machine shooting directly up on the floor, remember it was on the floor, which develops a problem with the taillight flame. Yes. For an arc, a taillight flame is an arc, which we use for a source of light. So think of it this way. You've got a massive 800-pound projection screen that you're aiming towards this little mirror that then bounced up, and that's how they did this. Now, I have proof. I'm not going to...
I knew you'd see reason.
Margaret, I'm going to get you one of these days. So, Betty Danko, who is a stand-in for Margaret, just happened to be in these photos, and you can see as somebody running across, stagehand running across this. Now, when you bounce the light, you get the opposite. So if you flipped his little shoulder there, you can see that that was there, and if you look very closely, you'll see it's the poppy field. Isn't that wild? And so you have evidence, and you can, when you watch the movie, you'll see a little bit of this translucent functionality going on, and it bouncing back to what happened to be her bookcase. Isn't that fun? Now, kids can do this these days. It's like put a monitor, an angle, and you've got this response there. It's too easy to do it these days, but you can do it at home. Now, flying monkeys. But the monkeys landing in the forest were one thing. Now, I want to step away just for a second. I want to show you something that's very interesting that you, of one of 1,200 people again, will only know. Okay, you see this beauty here? This is a process screen. It's actually a 3-projection process screen. Yeah, when you look at the back here of the haunted forest, when the monkeys are landing, watch the back. 3 projectors across this 400-foot span. 400-foot span of monkeys, these miniature monkeys, are landing. That's one, okay? Number 2, as the monkeys are coming in, you can see that same effect. So what we're trying to do is use the same set of monkeys. And again, there was 275 of these little SOBs, and they were 3 different sizes, and they had to do this in a week. They had to get it done in a week. And there was 1,100 wires, and they put them on different size kind of gantries, if you will, and motorized them so that things did this just right. 3 different sizes, okay? Now, of course, you want the bigger ones in the back and the smaller ones in the front, but you want to give it a sense of depth. One of the things Buddy learned early on in C.B. DeMille, with C.B. DeMille, is the sense of threes, fore, near, and aft. Always have something in the front to look at. Always look at something in the back. Give them something in the distance. Have them something in the middle to look at. So if you use the backing that they had as the far, then you have near, middle, far, and further. That's how he was thinking through how they would all do this. So that's what this is saying in the upper right here, is they shot this a couple of different times, a couple of different ways, and a couple of different ways of looking at the monkeys. Okay, these miniature ones. 1,100 wires. That's a lot. To do in a week and plan this out and get it done, that's a lot of work. Okay, so this is, that's monkey sound, okay, if you didn't know. So if you don't speak monkey, that's the monkey sound. Now, what's interesting about this is a process. This is a show. This is something that's filmed. Now, think of this. You're Margaret Hamilton. When you get your cue to go, you have to know your lines, hit exactly your marks, do exactly what you're supposed to do, and then watch the monkeys fly and tell the monkeys go out and fly. Now, the monkeys themselves, they had to practice too. They also had to practice not just flying and making sure that they didn't fall out and they were hung up, and the guys that were, at the stagehands, they actually had them but they had to flap their wings. I'm going to show you this scene. Watch as one of the monkeys misses his wires and he's trying to grab for him and he's kind of flubbing the scene. Again, try to do this all in one take. It's never done in one take. But poor Margaret Hamilton had to know exactly what the beats were, when to start, when to finish, exactly when to go to the window. Not a lot of pressure. All right, so let's see Margaret Hamilton. Now, remember, this is a process projection. This is playing. Okay? You have the miniatures, you have the backing, you have your process, you have all that stuff. This is playing on that process screen that we broke down earlier. So let's watch that.
To the haunted forest and bring me that girl and her dog. Do what you like with the others, but I want her alive and unharmed. They'll give you no trouble, I promise you that. I've sent a little insect on ahead to take the fight out of them. Take special care of those ruby slippers. I want those most of all. Now fly! Fly!
Crystal ball to see all the stuff in the back, didn't you? Yep. Remember, watch the stuff in the back. You can barely see some of the movies coming down. Off in the back. And of course I was on the miniature. Isn't that wild?
It's a twister. It's a twister.
Okay. One more. Since we were talking about the miniature, okay? Is it okay? Is it okay? Okay? You guys good? Okay, good. All right, good. Okay, so we're going to do this. Now, what's interesting about this shot is, you see this? This is a miniature shadow, because they had the practical set, and they took this tree, and they had the shadow, and then they put the shadow in miniature. Holy smokes. And these rows right here, these corn rows, would give you a sense of depth. Remember in second grade where you did a horizon line, horizon point? That's exactly what that is. This is how a process shot works, thanks of Craig Barron. So, this is practical, process, and notice these little bush areas that are hiding stuff that you don't want to see in miniature, which was a hoe. Oh, movie magic. Yes. This is how they did. This is a single process. What they called trilace was actually synchronizing 3 different cameras together. Yes, on a big process screen, which they did in Wizard of Oz as well. So that's what a process screen was. Basically, you think rear screen projection, but you had to make sure that the light came through to the camera properly. Now, you'll see this same tornado, and I'm going to show you this. You get to see the same tornado 3 times. And this is how it was done. So now, you had Leo Atkins with 3 different glass mats at the top that were all moving in synchronicity, okay? They were all moving different directions, and he actually put little pillows of clouds on each one of them too, which was called cotton balls back in the day. Still are, I think. And you want to make sure it didn't twist up from the bottom and twist up the top, and you had Fuller's Earth coming down from the bottom, Fuller's Earth coming up from the top, and then also you sprayed dirt across the set, and then you had somebody with basically a glorified leaf blower blow it all off. Everything was made of concrete. You had to. Now, you can see this miniature here, and you can see the details associated with it, and this is one of the scenes that you see. I want to play a little game with you. I'd like you to do this and play along with me, and I'll do it too. Take your thumb, or a pen, or something, and put it right there with that line. Right there on the line. And focus in on that line. Focus in on this. Forget all the cool action, and all the music, and all the other sounds going on. Focus in on that line for a second. Okay? You with me? Okay. Movie magic. Here we go. What happened? Anybody? Camera didn't move. The stage moved. Because things in the distance stay in the distance. It's like if you're filming the moon, and what if you truck a camera across, you say, the moon is moving with it. You're like, that's so fake. So yeah, you want to see it again? Is that pretty cool? Yeah. So put your fingers up. A thumb or something. Don't give me the finger, all right? That happened on the way here. The whole stage is trucked left. Yeah, isn't that wild? Isn't that cool? Oh, you're like, oh, so you're only one of 1,200 people that know now. Okay, there you go. Now, what's interesting though is you have these practical sets. You have the shadow right here. You got your screen door. Oh yeah. Okay, so you got too many questions. Yeah, that's not the real total. Okay, I've got you. But what about that screen door? We'll talk about the screen door things. Okay. Yeah, and I don't know what the heck that thing is up on the right. I just don't still. Okay. It was an elevated stage, and it was on railroad cars. Yes, and that's going to come up again. Yes. Isn't it fun? You guys having fun? Okay, good. Well, what about that? What about that screen door? What about that screen door? Mark says. Mark Wanamaker says, I think that spells something. Oh, yeah, but I'm not giving away a book. What does it say?
Oh, singing. I'll be damned.
Yeah, isn't that fun? So this screen door was sold here just a few months ago.
I should have thought of it, boy. I should have felt it in my heart.
Isn't that wild? Isn't that fun? Yeah, now you're never going to watch this movie again like you saw it. Okay, that's why I'm here. I'm the magician. I'm going to break things for you. Okay, all right, so this is, remember I said you saw this 3 times, that tornado? I'm going to show it to you twice, coming in and going, okay? Because this scene is only about 1 minute and 15 seconds long, right? You saw as Dorothy was coming in, okay, in the process shot. You're going to see her now as she's entering and also exiting the Gale farmhouse. The same exact one. By the way, this tornado was also used in 2 other films. I'm not going to ask you which one. We won't go into it. But as you can see, synchronized here, Dorothy going in and the stage moving. And Dorothy exiting the Gale farmhouse. Yes, and it's the same scene. Again, all we had was 1 minute, 15 seconds. And this is where the effects people, the director, everybody got together and said, how are we going to do this? This is a lot more, I got to say this, a bigger team effort than it is now. And more, it's like, oh, this is, you're in your silos. This was what Buddy spent a lot of time on. He thought through everything, just like C.B. DeMille did. Okay, so, yes. These are, you've got Cedric Gibbons on the right-hand side. That was from Green Dolphin Street. Let's talk San Francisco. Remember we were talking about tracks just a second ago? So this has got Clark Gable, Jeanette MacDonald. Anybody seen San Francisco? Oh, you guys are going to love this. This is on TCM. This is one I'm going to need your help with. Okay. We're dealing with miniatures, process shots. Also something called, you guys saw a map painting, fixed. Traveling map. Who said that? Yes, of course. Yeah. So, and also real people. Okay, as opposed to fake people, which, I guess. But down here, remember the law of 3. This is actually kind of the law of 5s. This is all one big process screen. You're going to have live action down here. You're going to film this going across. The firemen and the horses with the traveling mat, shot by itself. You're going to then have miniatures, which is the miniature house, the miniature fire. All this is miniature. And you want to have, by the way, in the glasses, this is how Buddy thought. In the glass in there, you're going to see the miniature fire. Well, it's not really a miniature fire. It's a good size. This thing is about 12 feet tall. Okay? And then smoke and another traveling mat that we'll get down and show you. Whole bunch of layers. Okay? So the one thing I can't figure out, and I need your help on, is that smoke in miniature? Was it live action? or was it added afterwards? Okay? And I'm really asking for your help, okay? So let's watch traveling mats, miniatures, process shots, and it all come together. Oh, and there's another one more process.
Where's the fire? On the Barbary Coast. Maybe it's my joint.
Traveling mat.
Sound good.
Real people.
Give us a chance to look for it. It ain't your joint, Mr. Norton. No, it isn't hot enough for my joint.
Now again, the firemen on the left and right that are shooting water, those are miniatures. Now, did you see the traveling mat there? Okay, you saw it? Okay, you want to see it again?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Let's play it again. Okay, how about another time? All right, I'm tired of this kid. All right. I think I'm going to set the kid on fire by now.
Everybody out of there? Okay, they're all up.
Isn't that the coolest thing?
Happy day.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, I couldn't think of that. Now, miniatures were big in San Francisco. They even played around with this, putting a process shot inside, in miniature, of these things that are about 12 feet tall, okay? So, yeah, imagine that. Now, if you look closely at the right-hand wall there, you'll see it come away. Oh, by the way, how they're making this thing not just shake, but move, they put wires. They just put piano wires on each one of them to pull things off. And all those little bricks are just little pieces of cardboard. That's all they did was fold cardboard. That's all they did. Yeah, it's just a tremendous amount of time spent. Now, a couple of different things. You can see that right here. You can see this one over here. Watch for the explosion here, but also watch for the flying rock. Watch your flying rocks. Oh, wait, there's more. Okay, here it comes. Whoa. Let's get that out of the scene. We're not going to use that shot. Okay, yeah. Pretty cool, though, huh? Now, back to San Francisco. This was a breakaway set. Only the stuntmen knew. And all the actors knew what they were going to do on this set. It was going to come crashing down. It was held up by wires. This was a tremendous feat. The entire set was up on exactly the big shaker. Railroad tires. The entire set. Well over 60 actors on set didn't know what was going to happen. No idea. So sound people, we set up the boom boxes all over the place. We make sure this thing shakes, but you have to make sure, because this is really tricky, it's really scary, and this is going to be really happening. They don't know. Fake glasses. Nothing that's going to break. You can't have something that's on the table that's going to splash and hurt somebody. They thought through all of this beforehand. So, MGM presents The Earthquake. Take it away. Now, these bricks are cardboard boxes stacked one on top of the other. More cardboard boxes and more traveling mats. Foley people? Anybody Foley? Okay, something every once in a while. She was an actress that was in this, and that was her actual reaction after this. True story. Foley action. All cardboard boxes. What's that? Oh, no, he had to. because when number one's on set and you're about to do this, oh yeah, it's all card. Those were all cardboard boxes. No, I know. But still, oh no, he knew. Jeanette McDonald.
Gentlemen, would you care to see some more of the Krell wonders?
Oh,
indeed, yes.
Please, yes. Forbidden Planet,
if you
anybody?
will, step in this shuttle car.
Okay, now.
But now, Dr. Moebius, prepare your minds for a new scale of physical scientific values, gentlemen.
Now, this was a really tough thing to do. You take a piece of glass, okay, 4 feet by 6 inches. You put a spiral on it, put a motor on it, you put some X's in front of it. There you go. There you go. Yeah, okay, we charge by the hour. We're done in 15 minutes. We're good to go. Oh, but this deceleration machines, this was an argument because you can't go faster than the speed of light, he said. Buddy said, we can't go faster than the speed of light. I don't care. We're going to go faster than the speed of light. So he said, okay, I'm going to Caltech and talk to them and see if they can ever do this. He went to Caltech and he talked to them. He said, you guys thinking about going at the speed of light? Yeah, we're thinking about it. I go, well, what would you do? Well, first off, what we're thinking about is a copper plasma. What, you guys are really thinking about this? Oh, yeah. Or a copper plasma, which would actually be in a green glow, and that would protect the body. And he came back and he said, you guys are freaking, really? Oh, by the way, because you're going fast as speed light, you're going to go through the light spectrum twice. Oh, I took a note about that. Okay, that's interesting. All right, so I think I'll put those in the film, and nobody will get the reference except for you guys over at Caltech. It's in his notes. So let's watch this very technical aspect of going through light and a deceleration. Oh, Matthew Yursich went to go figure out how to paint this with an airbrush. He learned how to do airbrush just for this. And you can see the red, then it goes orange, yellow, blue, purple. Yeah, stuff you just didn't know or don't care. This thing was heavy. This big old thing, 8 feet. They had an 8-foot one, they had a 4-foot one, they had a 2-foot one, right? All these, all shot on, by the way, tank lot 3, the back lot, okay, which is really cool. Another Forum 48, production 1671, set 72. Set 72, set to take. Printed sky backing. The entire backing, oh, by the way, Wes Schenck owned this. He passed away about 8 years ago, and it got auctioned off. He brought this to one of the Academy presentations that some of us were at. We got to see this. It was really cool. It's the 2-foot one. So we got to see that live. The cool thing about this, though, was not only did they fly these things, by wire, of course, they planned this all out, and they also rotoscoped in a lot of this other material. You see, a guy by the name of Metter, Josh Metter, did all the rotoscoping for this, literally page by page by page, like he was an animator at Disney. This is Joe Regan. You can see, we're going to get to this George Powell movie in a bit, but he was the guy in charge of Wind and Wave, but you can see how big Tank Lot 3 was, 300 feet by 300 feet, and that backing was almost 100 feet tall. This thing weighed a lot. It was huge, 8 feet tall, 8 feet in diameter, but also weighed over 300 pounds. They had telephone poles that they had to put in there. Now, right here, you'll see on the right-hand side, we're flying this in, and this is in the movie, the little area right on the right-hand side, right there, yeah, the little flying thing that they had. This was the rig that they had to fly things over. So this is Animorph, but this is the only photo that exists of the entire Forbidden Planet set. And you can see all they did was, we called it Flintstoning back in the days. Flintstone moved, rocks around to just set this up. But the camera was fixed in a certain location in each one of these. And it was also Robbie, there was a Robbie scene where he was going across with his Robbie Jeep, same setup. So what I'm talking about here is that they use all kinds of different things in the same way. Now, the It Monster, now Buddy wanted to have Sigmund and the Sea Monster, literally, because he was a practical guy. Everybody else said, no, I think we're going to do it as kind of a painting of sorts, but they were on the fence of what this was going to look like. So this guy, Kent Hundred, came up with an idea of a montage or a tribute to the MGM lion. So the It Monster is the lion. He's not that Warner Brothers cartoon kid, it's not that. Was Buddy Gillespie somewhat responsible for getting Forbidden Planet made? And the answer is absolutely yes. So, and so that's a really good call out. So it really got down to how are we going to do this and at what budget? And so they literally ran out of money the last couple of months. So they were pulling things off of different sets just to make things work. The original Roddy the Robot, which Buddy Gillespie designed, was going to be more utilitarian. It almost looked like, you remember those vacuum cleaners that looked like a round ball and they had that little tubby thing on the bottom and, the air went down? That's what it kind of looked like with utilitarian things on it. And then Robert Kaneshita came in and said, that's really good try, let me do something better. And so Robert did all the work. All right, ready for another one? Okay, remember Wings? Test pilot. Come on, audio. 1938, production 1027. Okay, lots of miniatures in this. Miniatures, process shots, miniature scenery, and pyrotechnics. Techniques, pyrotechnics.
How would you like to get that junk over the fence before I stick a bull on you?
Hey, I'm just in the mood for a bull, sister. You go get him. I'm liable to pick him up and throw him right back in your lap.
Come on, Jim. He's on fire.
Ah, don't be crazy. That's nothing. It's nice to have a little fire. You don't know how cold it gets up there. Besides, the guy is made of asbestos.
How can you talk like that? How dare you?
Why, you little fool, who are you talking to? What do you think this game is, anyway? It's death every time you move. It ain't safe to sit in one of them. It ain't safe even to look at one of them. And you married it without giving it a thought. I'll say you're a sucker.
I'd love to take that high ride with you. I've never asked you before. Can I be a bomb? I'll be twice as quiet.
Do you know what you'd be with that dress on up there?
What would I be?
A little icicle.
With you?
For those that didn't know, this was a three-way love story. Okay, that was part of the movie. So I want to play, now most of that was miniatures, by the way. I know there was some that were real, but a lot of this was miniature and practical set, things like that. And I want to show you how to spot some wires. Okay, ready to play Wire Spotter? All right, for miniatures? Okay, all right. All right, we'll get through this. We got one more thing to go. This is a miniature. Okay, and that's miniature fire. So this was actually a big picture. This is about 20 feet in length, and it went the whole length of lot 3. That's miniature, this is miniature, and that's miniature. So did you see the wires on this miniature? Do you see them? Getting closer, getting closer. Yeah, now you see them. Now you see them, right? But did you see them first? No, you didn't notice them. Now, for those of you who can't see them because you're in the back, let me show you exactly where they're at. They're right there. You put them on the wings in the front and the wings in the back. Okay, and then you fly them because you have taut wires on them. That's how you do this. So that's how you do these miniatures. And you also have counterweights on them to make sure it's going the right direction. So it's fairly easy with pulleys. Now this one, because this happened to be a lightning shot, you can just barely see them right here. Can't necessarily see the one that's in the back. But if you watch this, because it's lightning, you can't see, but it's the same miniature. This here is also a miniature. And this is a really interesting scene because you have a combination of miniature and then the practical, which is a cutaway. Meaning you're taking part of the set and just cutting away. Not cutting away like film. Now, how they shot the backing on this, they put the camera inside a moving truck, a dolly, if you will, faced it down, painted the floor, and then moved it back and forth. That's miniature. So let me play this again, but play it without sound, and you can tell. Now watch the props; they're not spinning very much, and you can tell it's a miniature. Yeah, now you can see it. Now, if you only build one of these, what do? Do you try it? Yeah, you put something else there. Put something else there. Let's see how that worked out. Oh yeah. Oh. Let's see how this one worked out. Damn tree. Stuff getting in the way. That's why you practice. Yeah. So that was pretty good sized miniature, but now you can get this. And then they had to match this all the practical. And remember the tree that broke? And they thought, well, maybe it would hit. So let's go ahead and do that actually in the practical. So now you have miniatures matching the practical set. And also there was other things in here, like in this test pilot, they were using cork and Fuller's Earth. They used the full length and a little bit more of Lot 3. So these miniatures were good size and well thought out. Okay, Atlantis, one of the last ones. Okay, anybody see Atlantis? Okay, like 5 people. I know, huh? Yeah. You've seen this movie twice, and you may not have known it. Okay? Of course, they borrowed from Forbidden Planet. This thing right here is about 14 feet in length, this little fish thing. This was just some tubing they found. They literally just found some tubing, and they just put it together. That's all that was, just a little piece right there. Let's paint it. Forbidden Planet set. Thank you very much. George Powell is borrowing from everybody. Okay? Now, here's fun. And I want to do a little play around with this. Okay? This is not Tank Lot 3. Well, part of it is. Okay? But this is a matte painting. Okay? Do you guys know what a matte painting is? Okay, now you do. So I'm going to point this out. Matte painting, some live action, and then this is all live action too. Okay? And I want to show you how to break this down and how to see how to spot a matte painting. Okay? So let's play that. Let's play miniatures and mats. Okay, let's do that. Oh, that sounds like fun. Just for me. Okay, so here's the scene. Now look around where you can see movement. That's the first thing you do. So look around for movement. Now, in the upper right kind of area, that's not really moving. It's just tinsel in the back, and they just put little mirrors and tinsel to make it look like stuff is going. They put little holes in the mat. That's how you basically animate that. So you think you can see something, but you're not really seeing something. Okay. Now, if we move this back and forth a little bit faster, you can start seeing where action starts and where action ends. Okay, which is right here. See? So that's where the action. Let me show you. So that right there is, yes, that's exactly where the action was. So, but then also you have the miniature down here, which is about 14 feet long, I said, and you can't make miniature water. So you have the practical right here, as you see over on the right-hand side and left-hand side, you have all that. And then you have, and this was actually at Forey Ackerman's house. Everybody know Forey? Remember Forey? Okay, yeah, great guy. Yeah, loved him. He had this at his house. Why, I don't know, and how we got it, we don't know yet. 14 feet long. But he kept it there, and it just disbanded. Now, remember Joe Regan? I was talking about that in Atlantis. This is Lot 3 as they were setting up for the big scenes. And there was a lot of this scenes. This took months to do. They were very proud. Buddy was very proud of this. This part, not the other part, so I'm going to show you. So this was done, and you can see at the top right there where you can see the cutout. So take Lot 3 where the backing had a cutout. It had basically a 5-foot span between the front and the back. Okay, and you can see Joe Regan there. Now, Harold Wellman was put in a tub to make sure that things were moving because you don't want to have something stationary. You want to have action. That's why they did it. This right here, Clarence Slifer, he was the magician of pulling things together. He would take shot from shot from shot from shot from shot and pull them all together in his magic printing press. So this is also Dick Worsdorf and Clarence Slifer. Now, you see all these panes. There's about 15 panes here. What was he working on? Well, that's a good question. I'm so glad you asked. No book. Okay, one of the things we were working on back in the day was something called a mutiny. I'm not sure what mutiny it was. But Seagull was a mat. This miniature rowing, which I have at the house, is just literally about that big. And it has a little, just a motor on it. It's a row. So all this was put together in a matte painting that Matthew Ursich put together. So you have matte painting, live action, matte painting, and then live action again. And Donnie knows exactly which set this is in. Exactly.
Portsmouth, December 1787.
So imagine putting all this together. These are two mats that Urich put together. The guy was he actually used to be a football player. And when we met Buddy, he said, I think I can paint. He could paint anamorphic without even thinking. The guy was a magician. And if I put all this together and bring it all together for you, you can see Matthew Urich here and how it all kind of fades together with those two matte paintings. One is kind of anamorphic, the other one isn't, because of the angle of where the camera was going. Holy smokes, that just blew me away. So as I got to meet Matthew and spend some time with him, he was just a master of this stuff. And it was just like, oh, you don't know how to do this stuff? He seems like a physics professor of mine that knew everything because you taught it for 30 years. No, I don't know this stuff. So this set that they were doing here, these fake rocks, which they borrowed from Forbidden Planet. Yeah, okay, good. Had to come from somewhere. So Forbidden Planet, again, thank you very much. Might as well have the props and the rocks. So they put that together. This is the scene that they were doing with the Forbidden Planet rocks. And you can see in the background, now again, Buddy was very happy about this because you have nice little, spewing going on the volcano back here. So which is really cool. So Joe was in charge of making sure wind and wave worked. And you can see in the back here, they actually used propellers from partial airplanes to make wind and wave. They also put things together in a way that they had to reuse stuff. So you'll see the ships from the original Ben-Hur. They are borrowing from everywhere, right? And then Rome is what you can see here when Rome was burning in just a prior movie, just a few years earlier. Yeah, which we're going to get into too. So you put all this together. Oh, by the way, this stuff is just nasty. Gasoline, tar, charcoal, and lighter fluid. Yeah. And then shot it at a high speed. And of course, you can tell these trees are live trees. They're real trees. They're just spectacular. But you can't make miniature fire. You can't make miniature water. So this is the type of things you have to think through all the time. Again, this is all from a prior movie, which I'll allude to in just a minute. Unfortunately, George Powell didn't have a lot of money to spend on this, but he spent all his money here. Now, I swear I've seen this scene. This is actually from Atlantis, but let's play one last game, I swear. Okay, just one last one. Okay, then I'll let you guys go home. Maybe drink. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, Atlantis, the lost old Roman Empire, eerily familiar. Remember, George Powell was borrowing from other movies. Okay, let's see. Let's break this down. Okay, here's one of the scenes from Atlantis. Now, you see this big guy right here? Oh, he looks really familiar. Oh yeah, that's Buddy Bear from Quo Vadis. Oh, Jiminy Christmas. Hey, is that a Roman tunic? Yep. Oh, that's the same Roman miniature burning. And I've seen this 100 times from Quo. Yep. Another miniature from Rome burning in Quo. Oh, yeah, reuse. Yet another Roman tunic. Oh, but where's this kid coming from? Oh, I remember him. Yeah, that's Robert Taylor from Quo Vadis. Oh, that's right. That's where I've seen him before. Holy smokes. I bet you if I look up, I bet you I can see Rome burning. Yep, there it is. Yep, I'm going to see it. Yep, I'm going to see Rome burning. Yeah, again. So, yes, they're borrowing a lot. Another miniature from Rome. Oh, watch this cast go. Okay, everybody down. Down. Okay, good. Scene. Right? And this guy, I remember here from, what was that? Get Smart? Yeah, Get Smart. Yeah, right? Another miniature. So this is actually from, yeah, I forgot my fiddle, but I do have the secret plans to the Cone of Silence. Got that. Am I watching Quo Vadis? No, this is still Atlantis. And the guy is like, oh. Okay, now this is definitely Quo Vadis because you can see Robert Taylor coming down. This is obviously Quo Vadis. Got that, yeah. And this is Quo Vadis. But we just saw this, didn't we? We saw that with the Get Smart guy that was watching all this. Yeah, that's interesting. And again, is this Quo Vadis or is this? No, there's Robert Taylor. Oh, that's Quo Vadis. Okay, good. All right, and here's the guy with the. See, yep, definitely Quo Vadis. This is the same scenes, exact same scenes. All right, this one definitely is Nero. A good old Nero, my buddy, right? Yeah, cool. But he's happy now because he can see Rome and Atlantis burning at the same time. Nero, you're a nut. This is what Buddy thought he was going to get a nod for. We're just going to play this out while we talk. Now, some people say this is the turtle coming out of the water. Almost, but notice the center area has a nice little cup to it, so you're going to get this nice splash. So that was a nice touch. So you can see the waterfall coming in. But when it comes down, you can see, it kind of looks like the styrofoam thing. Yeah. So was it Atlantis or Quo Vadis? Quo Vadis? So George Powell said, thank you very much to Buddy, and said, yep, okay, there's all my money. You've taken it all from me, and that's all we have. So pretty cool, huh? I thought so. And that was just a few years later. Oh, okay. I have a choice for you guys. It's 8:50. You can play one more game, or you can go home. One more game?
One more game.
Oh, one more game. Okay. We're going to call this thing Things Are Flying. Okay. Now, one of the directors, Fleming, was kind of an interesting guy. Now, you've heard the slap for Dorothy and all that stuff. Okay. But he wanted action in every scene. And he talked about, he said, what would you do in this if you had a tornado? And he said, I'd make things flying. Literally. Okay. Watch the hats. Oh, yeah. Want to see it again?
Yeah.
Okay. One goes up. Stagehand, whoop, there you go. The other one flies off because of the wind. He wanted to make sure that things were working in different directions. He was playing a game with your mind. Yeah, that's the way he thought. Now wait, there's more. So, what's interesting about this thing's flying. You see the tornado, of course, the chicken coops, which has no chickens. I was expecting chickens to fly. They didn't make miniature chickens back then. Okay, mysterious moving bench, which you'll see in a couple of ways, and falling tumbleweed sets, pieces. And there's also miniature tumbleweeds that go across. Yes, made out of wire. Now, I really want you to look at this and see all the things that are going on, and I'd really, really like you to play along. As you see what's on this, we're going to play I'm the Director. Okay? How many people are actually directors or played a director on TV? Okay, a few people. Okay, good. Okay. One or two. You're the director. You're Fleming. You're a nut. You want to have all kinds of things flying around. Call it out when you read it on the screen. Please call it out, especially for those people in the back who can't see it. Okay? Call it out. I'm not going to call it out. Please, play along. You're the director. You're Fleming. You got your notes? You guys ready to play? All right, let's play.
Cover, Sylvan. There's a storm blowing up. Upper. To speak in the vernacular of the peasantry. Poor little kid. I hope she gets home all right.
Okay, this is the small set. One close.
Get them horses loose. Hey, Hickory! 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 It's a twister. It's a twister.
Now there's a set guy on the side that just jams his watch between the process shots. was 2 minutes. That was only 2 minutes. I'm exhausted, okay? Now, at the beginning of the end, this is actually the end. We have from the family a story to share with you. Now, Buddy Gillespie was an interesting man. Not only did he special effects, and he loved his family and all that too, but he also wrote poems. He wrote poems for birthdays, anniversary, Christmases, all kinds of different things. And the family would like to share a little bit of that with you. By the way, in special effects, remember, it's how you think about things, right? It's cream and coffee. It's making miniature water, miniature sets, things that are bigatures and miniatures. How big should you make a miniature boat? Oh, by the way, one of the other things that Buddy worked on is he made sure that there was a bunch of dummies on set on Ben-Hur. I'm not talking about Charlton Heston. Just saying. So, what they did was they actually put real dummies on the set in Ben-Hur. This was on a gantry, a gimbal actually, and there was two big rams that would pull the thing aside and actually make the whole thing tilt. Now, I want you to look at where I pointed out where the things are. And notice in the front and the back, and the stand-in for Charlton Heston here is pushing one down beneath, okay? And they actually put I hate to say it, they put a goat that would be bludgeoned as it went through it as well. That's how realistic this was. But can you see the dummies in the front and the back? Yeah. Isn't that wild? Yeah, that's the stuff I wouldn't have thought up. I'm like, yeah, you're a PA. You're going to be sitting in row 3, right where the ram's coming in. First year, right? Okay, you're good to go. No problem. Okay, you don't have insurance, right? All right, so these are the things I want you to think differently. But he was always giving back, always thinking, always doing something different. So from Buddy and Nell, thank you. That's we call them Mimi and Papu. This is one of the, as they were aged and coming back, they were just out golfing and things. But there's also one last thing I want to leave this with, is I want to share with you Buddy Gillespie's 30th anniversary poem to Mimi.
30 years have flown since when I ventured forth from my bachelor den, and lined up with 100 men, each of them a specimen of valor, looks, a handsome crew. Not one would ever have been taboo. After looking, Mom, at quite a few, you spotted me, and with no more ado, you lassoed me with your Texas rope. And I, being anything but a dope, hoped with a nervous but hopeful hope that if you'd ask, I'd agree to elope. Well, you asked, and later I found out why. 'Twas my baggy pants and, gravy-stained tie.
Thank you from the Buddy Gillespie family.
Looks like we came a long way for nothing.